What's a good word, everyone? It's your boy DKB here. I just want to say thanks for all the support. The channel's been steadily growing, and the number you see below, you can drop a text, shoot a voicemail, any ideas, topics, collabs, etc. you guys want to see. I'll include them in future videos and live streams, and I'll catch you again. Be easy. What's a good word, Jets fans? It's your boy DKB here, and the New York Jets officially have their first franchise-altering rumor creep up this offseason, courtesy of Take Flight Media's Harrison Glaser. And I don't know if he's deleted this post since, but he mentioned there are rumors that the Jets have reached out to the Titans and are interested in trading up to the first overall pick to get Cam Ward. And there's a number of layers to this, a number of different angles and discussions that can be held about this entire thing. And it, of course, starts with the quarterback position, where Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders are in some version, 99% of the time, the first and second quarterbacks that should be coming off the board, and you can mix those two up depending on franchise, depending on scheme, to even depending on market, I would say in certain cases, etc., etc. So this isn't a out of the blue conversation. This isn't a bombshell in terms of the fact that the New York Jets may want to try to reset the QB position earlier than expected and maybe not choose to wait until 2026. But moving all the way up to first would be a little bit shocking, considering the trade package it would take, considering the early evaluations and the consistent evaluations around Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, where they are highly compared to a Bo Nix, a Michael Penix Jr. from last year. And as we know, those were, the fourth and fifth quarterbacks taken off the board last year. So not to say that that doesn't mean that those guys weren't worthy of first round potential. That doesn't mean that those guys aren't necessarily franchise quarterbacks. You can get them from any number of places, but most likely you're going to get that done in the first round, and it helps, especially at the quarterback position, being able to have that fifth year option in order to lock things in and just try to keep things as cheap as possible on a rookie contract. But ultimately, you're talking about what many evaluate as second round picks. These, again, are guys that are only moving up because of the need at quarterback and because the nature of the quarterback position itself. If you don't have one, you have to continue to take shots and hope that you land at some point. And maybe it's just the perfect combination of luck, draft position, environment, infrastructure in place, coaching staff and front office, all kind of moving in lockstep, in tandem, and again, it just kind of being the perfect storm. Are the New York Jets in that type of situation? I would say no. For one, the biggest question mark for us has been, what's the culture? What's the identity? Two, from a schematic standpoint, there's still a ton of question marks. Defensively, we don't necessarily know what we're getting, but you would imagine Aaron Glenn, Steve Wilks, they're smart enough, especially given their backgrounds, to play to the talent that they currently have, which would mean remaining in much more of a base 4-3 defense. Offensively, though, is up in the air. Will Tanner Engstrand want to follow suit in how unique Ben Johnson's offense is? Or does he have his own ideals about running a West Coast or running a spread, running a heavy run offense, run and shoot, a number of things? You'd have to go back to his college days and his play calling duties to really see what we may be in store for. And even then, that would have been under the offense of the head coach at that time, right? So plenty of question marks everywhere. What type of quarterback do we want? Luckily, we'll hear from these guys at the combine pretty soon, but the only rumors I even heard around that is that they may want a guy that's more of a dual threat than a pocket passer per se, right? And it's a dying art. The days of Tom Brady and Matt Ryan and Peyton Manning and all of those guys that were able to put an emphasis on playing from the pocket and dominating a defense, those days are gone, in lieu of maybe a lack of coaching and all these other items. But nonetheless, trade packages, I've seen some crazy stuff out there. So a first this year, a first next year, a second this year, a second next year, and then potentially a third round pick put in somewhere in play as well, or a player is what the New York Jets may be looking at to move up to the first pick. And again, I don't know if we have, this will be my biggest struggle, right? Let's say Aaron Glenn, Darren Muji sit down, we get further into the offseason and they really say, Cam Ward is the guy that can help us reach a Super Bowl. We need to get him by any means necessary. If you want to make that call, by all means, fully understand. But this is where we failed so many quarterbacks in the past. What are we going to be able to do in the immediate future around him to help him out? Because if you trade a Garrett Wilson or a Breece Hall as part of that package, you're down one of the two most important pieces in this offense to help us be able to go up and down the field. Two, you're not going to be able to invest top 50 picks into building continuously around that offense, which means you're probably going to have to go heavy in free agency with buying targets that you don't necessarily want to have to go around that route. And then guys may have their jobs on the line sooner than later, because you are talking about trading up. You are talking about an expectancy that Cam Ward not only sees the field, but also that you probably have success right out of the gate. And we're not really in a position to push all our chips in the middle of the table for something like that to happen. So not saying I'm fully against this trade, but I'm definitely farther in that corner than I am let's go get the guy by any means necessary. And this doesn't even have anything to do in just what I'm thinking of high level wise with the 2026 draft, which is really where you want to build up things now to go all out and get somebody in that draft. I think there's going to be at least 5-6 guys that probably rank higher than a Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders now, right? So if you want to truly hit the reset there, I think you do it next year. But I'd be curious all in all. I know a lot of the news that I've seen around the Titans wanting to trade back would be to acquire more picks, and that it may be a damning conversation in and of itself. They don't necessarily believe in a Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders enough to want to take them at number one. This is probably the biggest question mark pick since, and I'm trying to remember which tackle did the Chiefs take. Eric Fisher, I think it was. Either way, you guys kind of get the thought process here. So let me know what you guys think. I'm curious. A lot of you have actually dived much further into the quarterbacks than I have so far. Are you fully bought in on what one of these two guys could become, even if that doesn't happen right away in their rookie year? Is it worth the trade for you, or do we scrap those plans? I'm still also, by the way, in favor of trading back. So nonetheless, let me know what you guys think. I'll catch you again. Peace.